Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artieka.
And I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 6. And it is titled Out. I don't even remember what it's titled at this point. Out of the Comfort Zone into the Sea. If you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. So we'll start with Zack and Michaela. Didn't have a lot of notes about them because I don't think we saw Michaela once, but we did see Zack. Zack said that this was a short time sacrifice for a long time in paradise. He's just ready to get back to Michaela and make up for missed time. The group got together and FaceTime Zack at one point. That's when he said that. And then they came out on the balcony and said, "Hi, Zack." And Zack was standing outside with his mask on. And he did mention that Gil and I think Johnny came by the night before and gave him some beers, like left him beers.
Yeah. I can't remember who was up there with him, but yeah, Zack and Michaela was like MIA this episode, which I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Go back next to Brett and Ryan because they confused me.
Why do they confuse you?
Brett and Ryan were on the screen 3 times before I actually wrote anything down about them. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm missing something because I'm not.
Yeah.
I am very cognizant that I see them on the screen. They're just not doing enough for me to be like, Brett and Ryan did this.
Right. No, I get you.
So they went kayaking and she mentioned how terrified she was when they were talking about going kayaking. Then they went kayaking and there was a manatee under them. I'm like, of all the things to be around Brett during this, it's a manatee. Like, I think she probably would have freaked out over a dolphin, though.
Probably.
But a dolphin would have seemed a lot less harmless than a manatee.
A manatee sounds like it's harmful.
I don't even think manatees are harmful. I'm not sure. But
I'm not either.
Just thinking about a manatee and the size is what can be overly intimidating.
Yeah.
So after they go kayaking, they meet up with the group. There was a lot of group meeting this episode, it felt. Maybe it was just really long scenes.
Yeah. I can't remember.
So during that group date, there was a question posed, I think it was by Gil, about, getting to know each other and things like that. And Britt said that she's really bad at asking hard questions. Britt also mentioned that she and Ryan don't have the same political affiliations, and that worried her. And I get it because I don't know how to say this in a nice way. There's a lot of things that you can be. I guess maybe it's not the political affiliations that would bother me. It would be how you're willing to die on the sword for certain candidates within the political affiliation.
Yeah.
Although I don't think that, I think that I could be with someone who voted the same way as me, but we're picking different candidates versus someone who votes totally different from me and, looking at things differently. And Ryan was just like, we're voting based on different issues.
Gil brought up the point in that conversation. He said, I hope at this age that we're not voting for, lack of better words, for like political lines, but voting for the best person that helps our interests.
And that's essentially what it is. Making a big assumption here, probably not that big. Ryan is voting Republican because of his ties to the oil and gas industry.
Right.
Brett is not.
Yeah.
So, and literally, that's essentially what he said, was that he votes that way because of his interest and his job.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
It honestly makes sense. I did. When I want to go back a little bit, when they were talking about Brett not asking the big questions, I realized like they haven't talked about a lot of the important things. Like they haven't talked about finances, which is okay in my book. You know, it was something else that they brought up too that they hadn't talked about. And I was like, those are some of the things that you kind of, you know, work through in having conversations. I think it was living.
Yeah. I would say the only things that I remember them talking about is where they're going to live and the fact that he wants kids yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep, that's all I can remember.
Yeah, they played a game. I think Never Have I Ever. And Brett hadn't done anything, and Ryan had done everything.
Yeah, Ryan was just over there sipping
away. He was just out.
Sipping. You got anything else for them?
No, Ryan did say it's not a problem for them, or doesn't think it's a problem with the difference in politics. But that's about all I have.
Next up, Rachel and Jose. So they got up that morning, talked about what they had planned for the day. They said they were going to go bike riding. We find out that Rachel doesn't know how to ride a bike. So Jose says he will teach her. So Rachel has had a lot of firsts on this honeymoon.
Yeah.
I think this honeymoon was only like 4 days though.
They getting ready to go back home.
Yeah, I think the next episode they go back home. But she's learned how to fish and she's learned how to ride a bike since being on this honeymoon.
Yeah.
Let's see. The next thing I wrote was that she wants to talk about traveling, and Jose basically said no. She's like, she spends her money doing things and going places, and he's like, nah, I save.
Yeah.
Which we've known that about Jose since the very beginning. It's been, I don't want to say beat over her head, but essentially beat over her head by the family that he is very fiscally responsible. And she's like, my bills are paid.
Yeah. That's too funny. But I mean, like, they have to find that happy medium to, you know, figure out spending and saving. Mm-hmm. Like, he has to be able to let loose some, as well as she has to be able to, like, dial it back a little bit. So I see that being their biggest hurdle. Mm-hmm. is the happy medium part.
Because I think a happy medium would have Rachel being more happy and Jose freaking out about money.
Yeah.
Not their lack of money, but just feeling like they're spending too much money.
Right.
Let's see. So after they go bike riding, they sit down and they talk, and she tells him that she doesn't want to be a kept woman. And then they talk about credit scores. He says that his is, you know, right there at an 850. And apparently that gave her great pause. She was kind of like, I hope you weren't trying to be meshed with somebody that had the exact same things that you have, because I do not.
Yeah.
She wonders if he wanted someone who had their stuff together. And going back to what Tommy was talking about with the Never Have I Ever game that they all played as a couple on the boat. Was it a yacht? I don't remember the boat.
I don't know.
We found out that Rachel has cheated in relationships in the past. And they also talk about when they think that their physical intimacy is going to start. I don't know why I feel like I got that word out wrong.
I think Rachel was like more sooner than later with the intimacy part.
I honestly don't remember either one of their responses.
I think she was like sooner than later. But the big thing for me was when she said she cheated, Jose looked at that as a red flag.
Mm-hmm. He was like, my wife is a cheater.
Right. I think that's I hope he doesn't look into that too much. I don't think he did, but just the idea that he said that part, it's like, man, you know, yeah, she previously cheated, but is she a habitual cheater? You have to find more information about that situation. And are you willing to move forward? And, it's just one of those things you'll be like, I'm going to just watch out for,
You got anything else for them?
No.
All right. So you choose Gil and Myrla or Johnny and Bao.
Let's go with Gil and Myrla.
All right. So I have to get this out because I don't know exactly when I mentioned it in this situation. Myrla, who is seasick, was not seasick on a boat.
She wasn't.
Just have to say that.
She was not.
Just have to say that. But she was seasick on a plane.
She didn't. Did she drink?
I don't know. But is drinking the only precursor for being seasick?
That's like, nah. It's
your precursor for being seasick. Because definitely that's when you got seasick.
Yeah. I mean, I've been seasick before. It's no fun.
No, I'm just saying, like,
I'm talking about before.
Yeah, but me and you, it was just drinking.
Yeah. Yes.
So we opened up with Myrla telling Gil that he talks in his sleep. And then Gil circled back around to the Myrla changing her name conversation.
Yeah.
I'm happy he circled back around to it because at their wedding, I think it was their wedding, she said that she hadn't really thought about it.
It was the night.
Yeah. Okay. But she knew that she had thought about it. She just didn't tell him what she thought about it. He asked about changing her name. She basically said no. He was like, have a really long name. She was like, that's too long. And then she was like, I want to keep my dad's name. I always wonder how that works when and if you have children, because you're the only person in the household who isn't connected to that last name at that point. Not to say that you have to do that, because I still, in some situations, have my maiden name listed on things, but my last name is your last name at this point.
Yeah.
But my maiden name is still a part of my name.
Yeah.
I always assume that people would do that. I'm not really a hyphenator. I just feel like I don't want to have to write all of it every time.
Yeah.
But there are times when I write down my maiden name and my married name back to back. Let's see. So after that conversation, they go and lay on the beach, and Gil basically said, Myrla, how did you become you?
Right.
Tell me about yourself.
Right. That was a good question, though.
It was.
It was a solid question.
So she said that she grew up. Did she describe it as dirt poor?
Yeah.
She said she grew up dirt poor. She said they lived in a 300 square foot home with, I think she said it was 5 people in that home.
Yeah.
Gil was like, all right, so we were poor, but we were not that poor.
Yeah.
I think that poor is subjective to the person, though, at this point in life, because I've talked to people who were like, we didn't grow up with any money. And then you're like, yes, you did. There was something there.
Yeah, like I feel like, man, like you said, it's very subjective, because I think the dumbest conversation is to see who grew up the poorest.
Yeah.
I think that's the dumbest conversation in the world. But it definitely it is a conversation that a lot of people like we've had before. Oh, I didn't have this, or I had this, or I didn't have it. We didn't do that.
But I don't think either one of us was trying to say that we were poor,
right,
or we were impoverished. It's just like my random question, and y'all can comment down below about this. Did you grow up with sidewalks? Has nothing to do with poverty,
right?
But it's just a stance of where are you from? Did your neighborhood have sidewalks?
Right.
So it's just we do stuff like that.
Yeah. But the thing is, what I was saying with the poor thing, it's like you do this compare and contrast and then try to figure out how people are, or, with him, it was like a sense of where he was. But for me, I was like, I didn't even know if we were poor. Now, I didn't really pay attention to how much my mom made or brought home until I went off to college. I was like, because I always had everything I needed.
Right.
It may not have been the things that I want. Like we never went hungry. We never, lights got cut off, but they got cut back on, and stuff like that. But
that's video games.
Right. I played sports, had video games, so I had all the things I needed, and never went without these. But my mom didn't make a lot of money,
right?
And so that's what I feel like the conversation between him. That's how Gil basically like grew up or whatnot. But that's how I feel like the conversation between them had grew into, which, like I said, is a great question that he asked.
Yeah, he just wanted to know the basis of why Myrla is Miss High Maintenance now. Because he's like, oh, you grew up poor? She was like, no, we always had food. He's like, okay, check.
Right.
Like, let's see what other questions I can dig into to find out more information about you.
One thing she was saying, to get to where she is now, is that she always wanted the fashionable clothes. Like, she always wanted to go shopping and stuff like that. He was like, oh, that's where it came from.
You weren't able to do it.
Right.
So now you now you have to do it because you couldn't do it.
Right. He was thinking it was a thing of she's materialistic, but no, she was like, basically he said she was born that way.
She saw what other people had and wanted it. Yeah. And now she's making a life so that she can get those things.
Yeah.
So they did have a conversation about how many kids they want. Myrla said 1, maybe 2. Gil was like, I want 8. She was like, nah, dog, it's a no for me.
Yeah. You ain't getting 8, buddy.
And then he was like, I mean, we could adopt. She was like, nope, not doing that either. And then they got onto the subject of, he called her evil for saying that she doesn't want to adopt.
I don't think that's fair.
I remember having an adoption conversation with you.
Yeah. I said, if all else fails.
And I was like, give me a baby that somebody else doesn't want.
I just don't think it's fair to say a person is evil or something like that just because they don't want to adopt a child.
I don't think that that's in everybody's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Kids are not in everybody's wheelhouse, so I wouldn't be like, oh, you should adopt. It's just
right.
One of the we haven't gotten to that part yet. So we jump to them being on the boat. And the game Never Have I Ever was initiated. And we did find out that Myrla was a cheater in the past. But Gil was like, what? You cheated? She was like, you already knew that. Like, let's not.
He was like, I know.
Like, let's not do that. So even though Gil and Myrla are not having physical intimacy, and I don't jump to sex, but like there's no touching or kissing or cuddling or anything like that. They are having conversations.
Oh, that's the one thing that I like love about them is that they are talking, they are getting to know each other, and they have inside jokes. I'm a jokester and I love inside jokes. So it's like seeing that, but then she's still a mean girl to me. Like it's I don't know. It's just something about her. It's just says mean girl. But
I agree.
Gil definitely has his hands full with her. But no, I really think that the conversation, like, shoot, I guess that's all they do have is conversation.
It's like who was that one season that they played like newlywed game? And they got all the questions right.
It was last season. I can't remember his name. Jacob and Haley. Yeah,
they got every question right, and they're like, all we have is the conversations that we've had.
Right. So
let's see. After the boat ride, Myrla decided to get Gil some chocolate chip cookies as a surprise on the final night of their honeymoon. And while they were sitting there over the chocolate chip cookies, they talked about Gil's dog, Hype. And Myrla was like, I don't want a dog. I don't want to have to walk the dog. I don't want to have to do anything with the dog. And Gil was like, that's not fair, which completely disagree with. That's your dog. You can't expect her to come in and take on the responsibilities of your dog. She was like, oh, we can hire a dog walker. And I felt like I was talking to Tommy in that moment when he was like, no, that's not something we're going to spend money on. And I'm like, nah, if you want me to walk this dog, that's something we're going to spend money on. And it wouldn't be a dog in our case, but there have definitely been things that I'm like, I don't want to do that. So let's just pay somebody to do it, because the time that it takes out of my schedule and the desire that I have to do it are just not part of a commitment that I'm willing to make. Myrla's is just the commitment of she doesn't want to, so she's not going to.
Yeah.
I fully understand that. And I agree to be uncompromising on that, because again, that's your dog. I don't want this dog. I'm not taking care of this dog.
No, I get that part. I was getting ready to disagree with you, but then I was like, nope, she's right. No, I think Miller, he shouldn't expect her to take care of this dog.
Mm-hmm.
One, he doesn't know, he probably knows now that she's not allergic or anything to the dog, but we don't know how the dog is going to react to her.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is, it's like, yeah, you have to slowly mend that relationship. Yeah, she may not want to walk the dog today, but a year from now, she may be like, they may get along and start a bond with each other, and she may be like, that's my dog.
Hype might be the dog that makes her want to like dogs,
right? But
Hype might be the dog that makes her be like, yep, I was right, I don't like them.
But the thing is, it's just like, you have to work at building that relationship between them. You can't expect her to come in and say, oh, because she's not a dog lover.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She told you, from the jump, like, okay, dogs aren't my thing. So if dogs aren't your thing and you have a dog, that's a relationship you gotta build on, So, and the cookie thing I thought was sweet of her. She finally did something for him,
mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. So that was nice.
You got anything else for them?
No.
All right. So last couples, Johnny and Bao. So Bao wakes up that morning and talks to Johnny again about this snoring. I'm like, can we lay this snoring to rest?
Yeah.
He thought it was funny.
I missed this part, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He thought it was funny. You did not. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You let him know that it's not funny, and he's accepted it. You're like, no, it's not okay. And he's like, okay.
Right.
Let's stop talking about it. He did tell her that he doesn't feel like she lives in the moment enough.
Mm-hmm.
That she's always thinking back to a previous conversation that they've had so that she can bring it back up.
Yeah.
And so she agreed that she wouldn't do that anymore with them. They did talk about the fact that that they have previously been attracted to each other but didn't know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
Which I get. They knew each other in their late teens, early 20s. There's not really a lot of navigation that you can do there correctly. That's going to give you longevity.
Yeah.
Especially being in college.
Yeah.
So after that conversation, they go and get in a hammock together on the beach. And I was like, I have never been in a hammock with another person, and that just seems like it is very difficult to navigate. But they made it work, which we've seen two couples try to get in these hammocks thus far. They both made it work. Proud of them, because it wouldn't be me. We'd be all over the place on the ground.
Yeah, we definitely would have failed.
Oh, that was when he told her about she did not living in the moment, was in the hammock on the beach. In trying to live in the moment, they decided that they would go parasailing, which was that looked fun. I would enjoy going parasailing. During Never Have I Ever, we found out that Bao has had a one night stand in the past, and Johnny was like, what?
That is surprising though, out of all the people.
But Bao doesn't come off as, oh my God, ew, no. Like Myrla does.
She doesn't. But it's still, you'd be like, she's calculated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's
she was calculated on getting what she needed that day.
I guess she was.
What else did I put about them? So after Never Have I Ever, Johnny got stranded in the ocean.
That was too crazy.
And Ryan was like, hold my beer.
I can go get him. Do y'all want me to go get him? We gotta save Johnny. That was so funny to me. Somebody was like, get Bow. We gotta save Johnny.
Like can't
lose both of them.
That was definitely a moment for her. She was like, no, my husband is out there. I gotta go get him. But Johnny was able to figure it out and he came on back.
Man, that was too funny.
What else did I put? He got himself back. And then when they get back to their room that night, Johnny had dinner for them. Delivered to the room, and they discuss the two of them not having lived with others and how they think it'll impact each other. And I definitely think that that's difficult, especially if you make it to your 30s, not having had someone living in your space, because you have to learn how to navigate having someone else around.
Right.
There was an episode of Sex and the City about secret single behaviors.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically the stuff that you do in your house when no one is around. Like, this is just how I do things. And you definitely going to have a lot of merging that with another person. Yeah.
Johnny and Bow, man. The fact that Johnny has lived by himself for 8 years, at first it was like, what? And then I was like, I get it. You know? I don't think it'll be hard to figure that part out. But what I do think is going to be difficult is what Bao said next. That she doesn't take showers. Man.
I was like, was that next?
Yeah. That's next? What I had.
Yes, that is what I had next. I said they talk about her need not to take showers when she's tired. And I feel like if it was tired, it wouldn't be a conversation. Yeah. But she named a lot of other instances about not showering. And I was like, wait now.
Like, I go out and exercise and I may not shower. Wait, you can't get in my bed.
And she was like, I just go to sleep on the couch. So now my couch stank too?
Right. Like, come on, man. But then he overshowers and she undershowers. Because he was like, I take a shower 3 times a day. Like, why?
I just want to know how busy are his days. Like, when do you take all these showers? If you get up and go to work at like 8.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can take a shower before you go to work. And then I can see the shower when you get home from work. Do you like work out at work and take a shower? Like, what?
That's possibly.
Where's the other shower? Yeah, or do you come in at 5 and take a shower and then take another shower before bed?
I don't know.
I was just trying to figure out the logistics of all these showers. I could get 2 in a day.
Yeah.
But 3, I'm like, where does this one fit in?
Right. Why does this one fit in?
Right. Like, what are we doing that we needed a 3rd shower?
And then Bao she said showering was not a top of the list for her. And I was like, that's disgusting. And Johnny gave a look as if he's disgusted. So I think that's going to be one of the bigger issues that they have.
I think it comes up again next week.
Does it?
I think so. I thought I saw that in the previews.
That's crazy though, man. Like, I'll be like, hey man, you need to wash your butt.
So the last thing that I wrote about them was over dinner, they sat down and talked about Johnny's dad contacting him after the wedding and asking him, was he married? And he said yes. And then he asked him, was she Asian? And he said yes. And he, I can't remember how he translated it, but it was essentially that his dad felt relieved.
Yeah.
That, you know, he married an Asian woman. And I don't remember if he mentioned to his dad that it was someone that he had known before, but
I'm not sure on that.
Definitely, his dad felt relieved about that situation. And they kind of are like, I can breathe.
Right.
Your dad is okay with us, because he does still want the what is the word I'm looking for? The respect of his father. That wasn't the word I was looking for, but it works. You got anything else?
Nope. That's it for me.
All right. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. Comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought about this week's episode. Sorry, once again, it's late. Baby had a birthday. We had a party. You only turned 2 once.
That is true. That is definitely true.
Anything you want them to comment down below about?
No.
Okay.
We'll post a question.
I'm gonna say, if not the episode, oblige me in your sidewalk conversation. Because this was like a big thing on Facebook for me like a few months ago.
Yeah.
I was asking people about where they grew up and if they had sidewalks. Because since living in Georgia, this is the most places that I've lived that didn't have sidewalks.
Yeah.
I just want to know why. All right, y'all. Bye.
Peace.